Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. And this past Friday, the NASCAR Not Camping World Truck Series, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, went to Daytona, first race of the year, and man, it was wild.
It was exciting.
So to start off the weekend, not necessarily the weekend, but the Friday, Christian Eckes would win the pole, and he also won the pole for the ARCA race the other weekend before. So
that's pretty good starting position for him for both races.
Pretty good at qualifying Daytona so far.
Yeah.
And then stage 1, green flag, Eckes versus David Gilliland. But then, not long after that, Duzat would have a flat tire, no caution, but Robbie Lyons would also make contact with him, got into the wall a little bit, some damage there. He would be able to continue for just a few more laps, but the damage would be too much there. And then an issue for David Gilliland. He would have a tire issue, and then for his teammate Natalie Decker, she would blow a tire, and then it would break an oil line. And
well, luckily she got to the pit road just in time, because she got almost to her pits just when it caught on fire, and she was just the right place at the right time, and they got her out safely.
Yeah, and then unfortunately a crew member was injured because of Duzat's car, or his truck did not have brakes, and just unfortunately plowed right through him.
Yeah, somebody didn't tell the jack man he don't have brakes, and he just hit the jack man, and he kind of flipped over, but they said he's all right.
Yeah, so not too sure officially, if he is, 100% all right, but hopefully no broken bones. Maybe you feel really sore in the morning, definitely.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely glad that they got the helmets and all the rules and stuff on pit road, and for everybody's safety, and he wouldn't get hurt as he would if he didn't have all the safety.
And lap 8, a few trucks would pit, including the 18 of Burton. Lap 9 would have a restart with Creed versus Moffitt, and it's very odd to see Moffitt in the Chevrolet.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to these number changes and truck changes, and it just takes a while to get used to.
And then for lap 9, Burton would be back on pit road during the restart because ran over some debris, had a little bit of damage to the tires there.
Yeah, they said when he come down the pit road, they noticed he had a tire going down, but he didn't left, and they told him, "Hey, come back in," and it went to green. So.
And then lap 15, Burton would go a lap down, 1 to go. Sheldon Creed would lead, and Creed would win stage number 1. And then stage number 2 would begin. Most of the field, if not all of the field, would pit. Brett Moffitt would lead off pit road. Sheldon Creed would lose a bunch of spots on pit road trying to get out of his pit box. Jordan Anderson was right in front of him. Just a tight squeeze there. Thankfully didn't hit anybody, so but still lost quite a few positions. And then Johnny Sauter would stay out. Then it would be Sauter versus Moffitt on the restart, which is really interesting because Moffitt took Sauter's ride.
Yeah.
And it's like, Sauter's probably saying, if I could beat this car, I'm like, yeah.
Beating the old truck.
Beating the old me, So Moffitt would end up taking the lead on lap 8 of the stage. And then there would be a crash with Fontaine, Dipple, Cicerelli, and it would just be a very, not a big one or anything, but just a random crash.
I ain't sure what happened at that point. I think it was just fight for space there, and they got turned around. Yeah,
it's hard to remember exactly what all happened because of everything that happened in the final stage. So
there's a lot of wrecks.
In lap 32, Eckes would be back down pit road, top off. Maybe some strategy going on here.
Possibly.
Then it would be Moffitt versus Sauter again, but Moffitt and Sheldon Creed would be black flagged for locking bumpers.
Yeah, you can bump each other, but you can't, lock up and just push the other one. that's against the rules, and they got black flags. I mean, you got to go by the rules. They said we ain't warning you. We just want you to black flags. So.
Yeah. And
it's really unfortunate. You know, they both had good trucks at that point.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for Moffitt because you can't really do anything about that. Besides, just get out of the way and lose a bunch of spots.
Yeah, because the lead truck, much he can do. He's just along for the ride, but he's getting the advantage from the push.
Yeah, he's still getting that advantage, and a rule's a rule. You gotta obey them. Maybe that's learning experience for Creed, and next time we go there.
Yeah, Moffitt was actually telling his spotter to go to Creed's spotter and tell him to just calm down a little bit right before the end, and it just bit him right for that.
Yeah, he gave him a good push. It's just too much of a push. So
yeah,
unfortunate for those two, but they would try to claw their way back. So Sauter would take the lead.
He had a really good truck at that point too. I mean, Sauter, he was showing some strengths.
And Todd Gilliland, would make the highline work. And almost crashes into Sauter. Could have been terrible there.
Yeah, all the trucks kind of just bounced around a little bit, and it looked like they were just chaotic at points, and I don't see how they made everything work, but they did.
Yeah, if you watch the Cup cars, they look to be like a perfect line. Then the trucks are all like woo, all over the place. So
almost the air or what just makes the trucks unstable.
And then on the closing laps of the stage, Gilliland would pass Sauter, but then Sauter would fight for that, and he would win the stage. Just an awesome move.
Yeah, like Gilliland went up there and tried to block him, but Sauter just like, I ain't gonna let you block me. So he took the high line. I thought he was gonna hit the wall at one point, but he didn't.
Yeah, it just shows the true skill of a champion and veteran of the sport. So stage 3, this is where everything happens and everyone crashes and burns. Pit road, David Gilliland would do fuel only, and Burton and Boyd would follow them. Sauter would almost make contact with the 404 of Roper.
Yeah, Roper come out of his pits, and I don't know if you didn't see Sauter or what, but Sauter had to go into the grass.
And then penalty, too many men over the wall for Moffitt. So a bad day already gone worse.
Yeah, I got a brand new team, and just all these penalties all of a sudden. So.
But it's the beginning of the season. You got time to work on it. Go to Atlanta. Moffitt won there last year. Hopefully, they can go there and perform just like they did last year.
Yeah, the crew member said, "Here, let me get this tire off for you." Oh, you got too many men over the wall. So,
well, I'll put it back. So it would see a restart with Gilliland versus Burton. David Gilliland. Crazy battles all around the track. Everyone's wiggling around. It's just crazy out there. And then we would see the big one. Jordan Anderson would try to get out of line. He saw the high line had a lot of energy, so he tried to get out in front of it, but I guess it just had too much energy and just swallowed him up, and around goes everyone.
Yeah, it was really good to see him in the top 5. He was running 5th, and I'm like, wow, there's Jordan Anderson. And then he just tried to jump to that high line, and I don't know if Creed didn't hit him quite right, or just, I think Jordan said his truck kind of stalled out or kind of bottomed out some, and it slowed his truck down enough, and Creed hit the corner of the truck and spun around. And
that was during commercial, and then Geico had to go with the commercial that went, uh-oh. So that was really odd timing there.
Yeah, just unfortunate. If you get a wreck in the front, you're going to pretty much have to field out.
So that wreck would, of course, involve Anderson, Eckes, Snyder, Enfinger, Friesen, Moffitt, Self, Creed, Poole, Gus Dean, and Todd Gilliland. A lot of good trucks in that list there, and we saw Friesen making a lot of good moves up in the front, and now he's going to have to crawl his way. He's still out there, but very injured.
Mm.
So the leaders would pit while Angela Arrett would stay out.
Yeah, she's actually doing real good too, because she's right behind Jordan Anderson. So once he moved up, she went to 5th, and it's really good for that team.
Yeah, everyone was excited for her to be up front on Twitter, so she got to have her spotlight of the day. And penalty for the 17 and the 18 won that penalty because they would pass the pace truck going down pit lane.
Yeah, just try to pass everybody they can. Yes. But it was unfortunate. When we in the front, and the pace trucks here, you just try to jet down the pit road, and sometimes you don't really realize you passed them, but you did.
Yeah, maybe they just said, that truck needs to go faster. So, I believe that happened to Kurt Busch at Phoenix last year, trying to get into the playoffs. So those things happen. I don't necessarily agree with it being a 1-lap penalty, but
yeah,
I don't think it's that much of an advantage over anyone. But a rule's a rule, and they had to assess that penalty. So then Austin Hill would take the lead on that restart, who was filling in or took over for Brett Moffitt in the 16 truck.
Wouldn't stay green too long, would it?
No, because caution for Eckes for bursting into flames, and
yeah,
that nice run he had was all up in flames pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot of trucks catching on fire.
Maybe you need some flame retardant trucks.
Yeah.
Then Burton would be the free pass, and then Angela and a few more leaders would stay out, but Angela would pit while the leaders would stay out, and David Gilliland would be caught for speeding while he went down pit road. So, not a very nice night for a lot of Toyotas.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. It's trying to kick off the season here.
Watch out, Xfinity and Cup.
Yep.
And then we'd see a restart, Hill versus Rhodes. Rhodes would challenge Hill for the lead. They had a nice battle for quite a while.
Yeah.
The 04 of Corey Roper would just snap around. He had a very loose truck, and he would just slam into the wall.
Yeah, I noticed, like, when he come off the turns, his truck would get, it would be real loose and almost hit the ones up in the high line, and like every lap, and then all of a sudden I guess he just finally lost it.
Yeah, it's bound to happen when you got a truck that loose in a super speedway.
But it's real fortunate he's the only one involved, but he really hit that wall real hard.
So Austin Hill would resume the lead. Another restart, 17 to go. Austin Hill would still be out front. Rhodes would eventually take the lead of 14 to go, and then there'd be a caution for the 4 of Gilliland and the 18 of Burton. Again, another Toyota bites the dust today, so unfortunate for them.
It's unfortunate. Teammates ain't sure if he bumped him wrong or if that was the 12 truck might have got a little bit into the 18, and it's a racing deal, I guess.
Yeah, and Gilliland, he was trying. He had one side of his truck, completely smashed in. He was still trying for it, so A for effort.
Mm-hmm.
There was 7 to go. It'd be Rhodes versus Hill, and then a caution for Greenfield and Peters. And then we'd see the green flag again with 3 to go. Rhodes versus Hill. Ben Rhodes would get the lead, and then there'd be another caution with 2 to go, involving Rhodes, Gustine, Nemechek, David Gilliland, Friesen, and Chastain.
Yeah, it's a lot of blocking going on out there. It's real aggressive blocking, and I don't know if that was the case in that. And then unfortunately, I thought Rhodes was going to end up winning it.
Yeah, I believe he would have if it just wouldn't been for that unfortunate mistake there that happened. But he had TJ Majors, I believe, spotting for him. So really good effort by them.
Yeah, that's one of the best spotters out there at Daytona.
Yeah. And then Friesen would get the P2, but he would just be completely smashed in with the flat tires. And Sheldon Creed, I believe his truck was the worst out of all of them. Saw all those sparks flying. So they wouldn't be able to really continue.
Yeah, I believe Friesen was showing us how tough a Chevrolet truck is.
Yeah.
With all the wrecks.
And Creed was in a lot of those incidents too, and managed to survive for that long, but can't survive forever, unfortunately. And then we'd see another restart in overtime. It would be now Hill versus Crafton. So he got rid of Crafton's teammate, now he has to deal with Crafton. And then Greenfield would go through the Greenfield. Because he had his hood just flew up on him, and
it turned out the light.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine how terrifying that would be.
Yeah, I think the spotter had to tell him, turn left, turn.
You're in the grass. And then we would go green again. And then caution again. So Gerhardt would blow a tire and cause another crash. And there's already not a lot of trucks out there, so there's not a lot of momentum within the line. So
pretty much you just had to survive.
Really, Crafton and Hill were the only 100% untouched trucks out there. Crafton, I don't know how he was untouched, really, because he survived a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Dodged a lot of wrecks. And then you just couldn't really get going on the outside there, and Hill would take the lead, and he would win.
Yeah, I thought with Crafton, we get the high line and get a couple of them lined up, because Hill was out there by himself, and I really thought that Crafton and them would just blow by him, but like I said again, there's a lot of blocking going on, and Hill blocks Crafton, and I don't know if that slows the momentum down or.
Yeah, it just made a perfect block at the right time. So
I don't know if Crafton was just being nice, but
yeah, I think Crafton could have, maybe forced the issue, but that probably would have took out the entire 9 trucks surviving. So, which would be interesting. What happens if they all crash? Is it like the last scoring loop, or
the highest running one wins?
So
whoever can push their truck across the finish line.
Everyone has to get out and run.
Yeah. Now that would be funny.
Yeah.
Everybody gets out of their truck and just run to the start finish line.
So yeah, after winning the championship, Hattori Racing, they are undefeated right now because they won Phoenix last year, won Homestead, and now they've won Daytona. Different drivers, but still on that winning streak.
Yeah, it's a good way to start.
Yeah, so congratulations to Austin Hill and everyone on that team, and pretty impressive to continue that streak.
And a good run for Angela. She finished 8th.
Yeah, and also Spencer Boyd, he finished 4th. So he's starting out in that team for Young's Motorsports. So
Ross Chastain finished 3rd. So there's a lot of the ones you don't really hear about. If they finish real well.
Yeah, I was really pulling for Spencer Boyd there.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been awesome to see him get that victory.
Yeah, Stuart Friesen, he didn't finish the race, but he still finished 10th.
Yeah, that's when everyone's just crashed. But yeah, that is our review. We do want to give a shout out for Watt Incarnation for finding Dale Jr. in the last episode. If you wanna have a shout out, if you could find the Dale Jr. in this thumbnail, let us know on Twitter. Give us a screenshot. This is where the last Dale Jr. was.
You just peeking around them?
Yeah. So we'll see you next time on the Side Draft Podcast.